Hi, I'm Jeff Holden. Welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast Network. Our purpose and passion is to highlight a nonprofit organization in each weekly episode, giving that organization an opportunity to tell their story in their words to better inform and educate the respective communities they serve, as well as provide one more tool for them to share their message to constituents and donors. Our goal is to help build stronger communities through shared voices and to both encourage and support the growth of local nonprofit organizations through podcasting. Thanks to our founding partners for their foresight in helping us transform the way conversations start. CapTrust, fiduciary advice for endowments and foundations. Runyon Saltzman Incorporated, RSE, marketing, advertising, and public relations creating integrated communications committed to improving lives. And Western Health Advantage, a full-service healthcare plan for individuals, employer groups, and families. Gender-inclusive, radical love and support. That's a statement. It's also an acronym for GIRLS. The challenges our youth and teens face may never have been greater as they mature. Social media has changed that landscape, and at times, it can be brutal. Helping those who are struggling with the myriad of teenage issues is one thing, but those who are also dealing with gender identity, creativity, and sense of belonging can really be a difficult place to be. Where do you go? Who can you speak with? Where can you get support from people who understand? Larisa Bryski is my guest today, and she's responsible for Girls Rock being present in the Sacramento market. This is truly a unique program using music and creativity as a common thread to join students together with a purpose through music. And no, you don't need to know anything about an instrument. Let's hear how all this came to be. Oh, you may have noticed that's not our usual music intro. Well, that's because we chose to play an original song created by Girls Rock Sacramento. Larisa Bryski, welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast Network.
Thank you. Thanks very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Excited for the conversation. You know, I love the name Girls Rock as it conjures up the likes of Heart and Joan Jett and Blondie, but I'm probably getting a little carried away here, right?
Rock is a word that has several connotations, right? So like it's a genre of music, and then it's also a verb. And in the context of what we do at Girls Rock Sacramento, I think that's how we use it the most, is for our campers. We tell them, you rock. A lot of times they come to us and they may be trying to learn something new and they're being self-deprecating. And so they say, I suck, or I can't do this. And then we say, no, you rock. And then we encourage them to say, I rock. So that's a part of it. But then part of what you said is also true. However, I would say maybe more related to Big Mama Thornton, as inspiration, or a Joan Jett is accurate. If it wasn't for Joan Jett, I don't think Girls Rock camps would exist in general. And then there's, Bikini Kill was a big part of our origins too. Bands like L7, a lot of punk rock bands, a lot of underground bands.
And one of your first concerts was not any of those at all, right?
My personally?
Yes.
No. One of my first concerts was Linda Ronstadt.
Right.
So you found that out. Yeah, that's on the website. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah, one of my first concerts was Linda Ronstadt. I was probably 7 years old. Yeah, that was amazing. I was like, okay, I knew I wanted to be a singer. But now I was like, oh, she's really good. And she's like leading a band. At the time, it was the Eagles backing her up, Don Henley and those guys. And I was like, I want to do that. It's a lot harder than it looked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit more about the program. I mean, it really is about acceptance and love and understanding, but that's just scratching the surface to what you put together starting in like 2016, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Kind of in a weird headspace right now because in 2015, I've been a vocal teacher in Sacramento for a long, long time, about 25 years, and one of my vocal students came to me and said, hey, Larisa, I think that you should start a Girls Rock camp in Sacramento. She was a young adult at that time. When she started working with me as a student, she was a teenager. When she was a teenager, she had attended the very first rock and roll camp for girls up in Portland, which is kind of how the whole movement started. So ours isn't the first camp of its kind. There's many, many, many all over the world. But Emma, came to me and said, Larisa, we need one of these in Sacramento. This was in 2015, and this was right around the time that, the Women's March people were getting upset because of things that were happening in the world, in the country. And I was like, okay, what do you want me to do about this? We should start one. We should just go for it. And at the time I was teaching at Skips Music. I'd been teaching there for, 15 years or so, and running their program, their youth music program, Stairway to Stardom.
Which for many of us in the market have known for so long, because it was just a neat production, a concert of unknown artists.
Yeah. And it started out as a youth and adult program mixed together. When I first started working in the program, I was coaching a band. I was probably 20 years old, and I was coaching a band. The youngest person in the band was 14. I think the oldest was like 32. It was really weird. And then, I was involved in the Stairway program for a long time and affiliated with Skips Music for a long, long time. And so there were adults and youth, and then they split those two programs apart. Now they have an adult program, and then they have the youth program. Stairway to Stardom still happens, still exists, which is super cool. But there was definitely, being part of that program and even running that program, there were never as many girls as boys who came through the program. And it was interesting to observe. And it was interesting to sort of witness some of the inherent sexism and misogyny that some of the girls would have to endure.
Mm-hmm.
And myself being head of the program, it was like I was always kind of on the lookout for that, and always kind of like, whoa, wait a minute, who are you talking to right now? So I felt like we, the community, Sacramento, we needed some place where women and girls could come and feel like they could do something radical that's historically reserved for men. And the music industry, even now, is still male-dominated, all aspects of it, whether it's radio, production, sound engineering, and people on stage, even though we're not talking about Taylor Swift and Beyonce, we're talking about like musicians, right?
Yes.
And they're musicians too, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so we went to the Chalk It Up Festival, and we set up a table, and we're like, hey, what do you think, Sacramento? Do we need this? And everybody's like, yes, sign me up. And so that's how it all started. And it started with me and Emma and a little tiny studio in North Sacramento, which is still our headquarters, and 14, I think, kids initially that first summer in 2016. And then in the fall of 2016, we did our first adult camp, which was 5 or 6 women. And then it's grown every year, like just more and more people and more interest from female musicians from the community who want to work with us and work for us. That's how it began.
Tell me about the constituents. Tell me about the girls that participate. And I should say the people that participate in the program, because it's not just exclusively girl-oriented, correct?
Right. It started out that way, and then almost immediately it became clear that it's like, well, we are not the only people who feel marginalized, just us cis women. We have, and even some of my closest friends are non-binary trans people. And they're like, well, wait, we don't feel safe or welcome in the music industry either. Why? And I've never been encouraged to pick up drumsticks before. Like, what about, I never had those conversations, but I was aware. And then also all of our sibling organizations in the Girls Rock Camp Alliance were doing similar work. And we have to get with the program. It was the right thing to do. And so GIRLS became an acronym for gender inclusivity through radical love and support, which works really well. And so that's where we are. And this past year, 2024, we've had just such diversity in, not only women and girls, but non-binary kids, trans kids, and adults, and really reaching out into the BIPOC community, like working with Indigenous, communities and doing outreach camps in Del Paso Heights and Oak Park this past year, and working with kids who had no idea who we were. They were just like, their parents would bring them to camp and they're like, what is this place? And they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to play a bass guitar. What's the difference between a bass guitar and a regular guitar? So things like that. So we've gotten to a place, I feel like, finally, just like scratching the surface of what we're really capable of doing going forward, which is fantastic. Like that's what the goal has been.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about the programs that you've got and the age range, because it starts young and goes to older.
Yeah.
So tell us
Yeah.
about that.
Let's see. We've had a camp a couple winters ago. We called our tiny camp for 5 and 6-year-olds, which was super fun. It was just during the winter break. So I don't know that we'll be able to do that this year because of the way the school break, the winter break works because I think the holidays land, like Christmas holiday lands on a Wednesday, which doesn't work for camp. But I would say 5 to 75. We just had our first 75-year-old in our adult camp this couple weeks ago. She played the drums. She'd never played the drums before. It was fantastic.
Oh, that had to be so fun.
It was a blast, yeah. And we have mini camp is one of our signature summer camps, and that's for ages 8 to 11. And then we do our teen camp, which is for ages 12 to 17. And then we also have a peer mentor program for some of the kids who've been in our programs for a long, long time, who are like our older teenagers or young adults who've kind of aged out of our camps, and they come and they work with the younger youth too. Yeah. And then our adult campers, a lot of them end up being our best volunteers, and some of them end up on our board of directors.
Oh, that's fabulous. So
yeah.
they get the program once they've gone through it and then want to give back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's quite the community.
With regard to that, the music community in the market, in the greater Sacramento area, are they aware of the program? Is that where you see some feed for people who participate? Where do the students come from?
Students come from, a lot of it has been word of mouth over the years. Now I feel like, I could be wrong because sometimes I live in a little bubble where just girls rock all the time. I feel like we've kind of ascended to a place where our reputation kind of speaks for itself. And it's still word of mouth, but because we have a lot of returning campers who bring their friends, and then people, in our adult programs who do the program and they invite their friends to the show, and the friends are like, "Oh my God, that's amazing. You got up there and you played the bass guitar, so crazy." A lot of it is social media, but we don't necessarily advertise a lot. We don't have a problem filling the camps that we're able to execute at this time. We actually end up with waiting lists now. What we have a problem with is being able to accommodate more camps. Yeah, we just don't have the capacity right now. Yeah.
And you're saying that capacity in a nice way, but the capacity really is funding.
Right. Yeah. Because we want to be able to pay. We have incredible, when you're talking about the music community, yeah, we reach out to our friends in the music community to help spread the word, but mostly it's, families. I have good relationships with a lot of wonderful other organizations that can help us spread the word. But mostly when it comes to the folks in the music community, it's the artists who, female and gendered expansive artists who want to work with us, and we'll work with the kids in the summertime. So local artists like Katie Nip and Alicia Huff and Jessica Malone and Juniper Waller from the Gold Souls, and almost pretty much honestly, almost every single, certainly female identifying badass on stage in the Sacramento community right now, you'll find at our camps in the summer, if they're able to, if they're not on tour or something, they're working with their kids. Yeah. And they spread the word too. And they tell their friends, you got to get your kid in the program and to be coaching this summer, that kind of thing.
And to make clear, this is not for people that have necessarily a musical interest. You don't have to have the interest or the capability or play an instrument.
No.
This is community-wide for anybody that has that. I love the way I think I saw it on the website, incessantly creative and misunderstood existence.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, are you a musician?
No.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to reveal. I played the accordion. I grew up in a Polish family.
I'm half Polish, quarter Polish.
Oh,
Bryski.
No.
Yeah. I like the accordion.
And in my family, you had to play the accordion.
Oh,
my grandmother played
That's
the
really
accordion.
Polish.
My mother, her sisters played the accordion.
Yeah.
And then I was the firstborn child into the family.
Oh.
So Jeff was going to play the accordion.
Okay.
And so I played and was relatively proficient at it.
That's a hard instrument to play.
It is very hard. And so, yes, but I don't consider myself a musician in that sense.
Okay.
It was a forced, I was looking outside going, I should be playing football in the street, not the
Inside playing
accordion
the accordion.
and polkas
Yeah.
and competing downstate and all that sort of thing.
Wow.
So
Oh my gosh.
to some degree, I have a bit of appreciation, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
Okay.
a musician.
So never been in a rock band.
No, no.
So there's something about being in a band and like writing a song together and just coming together and picking up instruments and plugging them in and turning things up loud and just like it doesn't have to be perfect. Like perfection, that's a construct. Like what does that even mean? It's about coming together and with people you've never met before and going, let's pick a band name. Like, what's our song going to be about? We have to get ready for our show because we're going to be on stage at the end of the week. Like, what's this? And they have a coach and somebody there to help them. And it's about, and like, I love your hair. Oh, you wear cat ears like every day? That's cool. Like, what's your name? What are your pronouns? Like that kind of thing. And it's a place where these kids can just do that and be super creative and completely themselves. And there's no ego because there's no competition.
Right.
It's not like that. It's like, but then we have some kids who maybe are more proficient on their instruments than others, and they help the ones who aren't as proficient because they have lesson instruction sessions where like all the guitars are doing one thing at one time and all the drums are doing one thing at one time. And it's magical. You know, it's really the energy that happens in these camps. It's just like mind blowing. And then at the end of the week, they're like, we can't. There's no way. You rock. You can. And they do. And they get up on stage in front of a packed house of friends and family. And it's just amazing. Like in all the years I've been doing this, we've never had a crash and burn, knock on wood. We've never
Wow.
had anybody melt down and not be able to get up on stage and do it. Even the ones that are the most shy, like they're like, come on, we got you. We're in this together. So it's definitely about more than music. Yeah.
I can only imagine those first couple of days when you just hear this cacophony of noise, maybe
100%.
it's all just
100%.
everybody trying to do their thing. And then as
Yeah.
the camp progresses, as it turns into something recognizable, and then it turns into something melodic to where they actually get to perform it.
Right. It's so fun. And when they're at camp, when it gets to that point, it's usually like Thursday, because it's a week-long camp. And so it went Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. By Friday morning, they've got it figured out. And then they're inviting each other into the different rehearsal rooms. Hey, you guys want to come hear our song? And then all of the other bands go into that rehearsal room and listen. And yay! And then they take turns and they run around. And then you've got more than just like this band, this band, this band, this band. You've got like this community and they're all cheering for each other and rooting for each other. And just like, your band was so good, and creating little Instagram pages for their bands.
Oh, today I can only imagine the social push from what it was even 8 years ago.
Yeah.
On how much they share and want people to hear what they're doing.
Right. And it just feels good. And the parents are proud. And a lot of times they'll say stuff to me afterwards, like, I cannot believe this. Like, I never thought in a million years I would see my kid up there banging on the drums. Like and even if it doesn't inspire them to continue playing that particular instrument, it inspires something to build their confidence, hopefully, you know, to encourage them to continue to get loud, you know, and challenge gender norms and get outside of their comfort zone.
Well, and scream your voice.
Yeah.
And however you choose to do it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the organization itself. It ebbs and flows as the camps go in terms of the people that you have to employ and your volunteer load and all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
How many people, let's say in an average year, because I'm sure that changes as funding comes in and out and your programs vary year to year, but if there's an average year, how many people do you have engaged with the organization overall?
Overall, per year, probably 50.
Wow.
50 to 60. That's cumulative over the year.
Yep.
But that's, you know, a majority of the time it's just me, which is crazy.
Because you do have a full-time job too.
Yeah. Well, I still teach voice lessons. That's my primary occupation. I have about 30 students a week. And then I run this organization part-time. So yeah, it's always really interesting. And I have a really engaged and incredibly talented board of directors. They're wonderful. There's 7 people, really diverse group of folks too. And they do a lot. They support me. I would not be here without their support. they all have different expertises, and they come, some of them are musical, some of them are from the world of philanthropy, some of them are in marketing, they just come from all over, some in radio. But most of the time it's just me, except when camps are happening. And if there's a camp happening, then I'll have, 5 instrument instructors, 10 band coaches, workshop leaders, because we don't do just music. The music is the vehicle, and that's the biggest component, but we also have like yoga, songwriting, that's musical too. But we do yoga workshops. We'll do like maybe a gender justice kind of workshop. We'll do self-defense, which was hugely popular. Everybody loves the self-defense workshops. We might do some sort of a screen printing. They make their own logos for their band t-shirts, and they get to screen print them themselves. So we have a lot of people who come in with different talents and expertise, and we pay those folks too. So, and then, we have multiple camps in the summer, and we have guest performers who come in and perform for the campers at lunchtime.
Oh, that's going to be special.
Yeah, it's really, and so they get to see like people doing what they want to do. Ultimately, what some of them want to do. And then it's really important to us that we are able to provide food for kids who come from places where they have food insecurity. And so we pay for lunch, we hire, a sandwich place to come and bring in sandwiches for the kids too. So yeah, it'll go from 1 to 40
in a minute,
in a week. Yeah. And so it's like, whoa, here we go, camp time. And then we have, of course, just an amazing roster of volunteers who are really dedicated and wonderful, who we work with.
How exciting what Larisa Bryski is doing with Girls Rock Sacramento. We'll be back with more right after we hear from the people making this program possible. I was in the media business for over 35 years and had the great privilege of working with Runyon Saltzman, RSE, Marketing, Advertising, and Public Relations. We collaborated on many different campaigns, but their commitment to the nonprofit sector hasn't changed since their founder, Gene Runyon, started the agency. Over many years and many campaigns, Runyon Saltzman has been committed to improving lives by tackling California's most challenging issues. Guided by research-informed strategies and insightful, creative solutions, RSE develops innovative communications campaigns that raise awareness, educate, and reduce stigma in diverse communities throughout our state and beyond. To learn more about RSE, visit rs-e.com.
Hello, this is Scott Thomas with C.A.R.L.S in our Sacramento office. I specialize in working with local nonprofits and associations. Annually, we survey private and public nonprofit organizations across the country to better understand challenges they see in today's environment. In our more recent survey, we heard concerns about proper board governance, mission-aligned investment, and how to implement alternative investments. If you would like a copy of the survey or to discuss your organization, look me up, Scott Thomas at captrust.com.
I'm thrilled to have Western Health Advantage partnering with us as they do so much to support so many nonprofit agencies in our community. As a truly local health plan, you'll find individual and family options, employer options, plans for CalPERS and Medicare Advantage. From medical services to pharmacy, health and wellness support, as well as behavioral health care, Western Health Advantage has a plan that fits what you need. As an employer, for profit or nonprofit business, individual or family, you can find more at westernhealth.com. Does the program cost anything to the participant?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's $400 for our mini camp per session per camper, and it's $500 to attend our teen camp. And our adult camp right now, I think the tuition is $250. But it's sliding scale, so if someone is in need, they just can't pay it. We can encourage them to pay what they can, and there's a process that they can go through to apply for that. And then we also offer scholarships. We offer a lot of scholarships, so we try not to turn anybody away. Yeah.
And that scholarship, we'll touch on funding in just a second, because I want to get to the collaboration. The people that you work with, and it's such a diverse group of organizations in town. Which is really neat because you're touching all these different entities. Share with us some of the people that you do work with and collaborate with the program.
It depends on what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because when we're not doing our programs, like our music camp programs, we do tabling events and we help with other fundraisers and we collaborate. So you had Buddy in here from Music Landria, and we've collaborated on a couple of fundraising events in the past. And when we've needed stuff, we reach out to him, and when he when we have cool stuff that we
Provides
don't
the
have a room
instruments.
for, yeah, we give it to him. Like
Huh?
we've given him some instruments in the past, and he's just a generally great human being. So we'll always, help out Library of Music Landria when we can. We've also done some work for and with the folks at Loaves and Fishes. They have the Mustard Seed School,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes their kids will come. I was just talking to them yesterday about this, actually. Have some of their kids come in to do a little field trip in our studio, and we'll do like a round robin, so they get to experience all the different instruments in a rock band, and they can go to each station and spend like a few minutes like banging the drums or playing the guitar. We also have coordinated breakfast services for our youth, like when we're not at camp, as a way of like getting back together and showing kids it's not, let's get together and do something for somebody else, for another organization. So doing like, winter breakfast service and things like that. And then most recently, we've worked with a mutual assistance network out in Del Paso Heights, because we brought an outreach camp to the Robertson Community Center there back in July. And then also St. Hope, which runs Sac High. There's the schools out down in the Oak Park area. And so we actually did an outreach camp on their campus as well, which was super cool. So yeah, that's just an example of some of the places we've worked with. And
yeah,
there's more.
Oh, I'm sure you touch so many. It's just, and your outreach, this isn't necessarily just underserved communities. It could be in any community that we see participants in the program.
Yeah. And that's, I think, thank you for bringing that up, because not a lot of people talk about that very much. It's important to us that like kids who can afford to come to our camps are placed in bands with kids from, maybe a kid from Del Paso Heights who maybe can't afford to come to our camp. We really want to we want these kids to come together and play music together. And that's part of like the whole equity component. It's like, we're all doing the same thing for the same purpose. We're all, on the same page here. So yeah, we love that. We want to be as diverse and open and equitable as possible, like so many organizations do.
Yeah, it makes that socioeconomic with the identity and everything else that kids go through as they mature.
Right.
How about budgeting? How big is the organization? Yeah, this is the fun part, right?
Right. Well, okay. So thankfully, I have our board treasurer, Heidi Stevens, that's what she does. For her full-time job is working as the financial person for another nonprofit organization. So thankfully, Heidi is in charge of, figuring out our budget. So our budget is variable. I can tell you that last year it was significantly more, because we got this really wonderful grant from the city of Sacramento. It was called the Creative Corps grant, and it was for $117,000, which was like, what? Like, we started with a budget in 2016 of $5,000. So the fact that we were able to get to like $50,000, I think it was around $50,000 in 2022 last year. Then this past year, $117,000 on top of what we typically make. So the purpose of that grant was to do these outreach camps that we did, which were super successful. And once all that money was gone, it was gone. So we don't have that anymore. So I would say in general, and I could be wrong, so Heidi can correct me later, but I want to say it's around $75,000, $80,000 is what our annual budget is, if we're doing, really well with our fundraising and stuff. Yeah.
And then vice versa, if you get grants, so you do grant applications.
Yeah.
And any other ways that you can find. Are there any fundraisers or events that you do as well? Or is it predominantly through the fees and
Yeah, a lot of it is through the tuition fees. The adult camps that we do in the fall and the spring are fundraisers. So, and we try to advertise them as like, you're participating in this weekend, condensed version of what our youth camps do as an adult. We throw you into a band, you get to play a show at the Torch Club, and that show at the Torch Club is a fundraiser for our youth camps.
Perfect.
So it's not a huge moneymaker for us. So we do a lot of our fundraising around Giving Tuesday, which is coming up. And then we also, participate in the Big Day of Giving, which has been such a gift, to the whole Sacramento community.
Yes.
But that was a game changer for us, especially during COVID. We raised probably $15,000, and that's typically what we'll do.
Yeah.
And then applying for grants, and then just little things here and there throughout the year. I don't have a development team. Like I don't
yet.
Yeah, yet. Yeah, we have folks on our board who have expertise in those areas, and they have some wonderful ideas, but we just haven't been able to facilitate any of them yet because we just don't have the capacity.
Right.
So, yeah, but all things considered, we do pretty well. Yeah.
Looking forward, I think it's just such a neat program.
Thank you.
In terms of what you do. If money weren't an object, what would it look like?
What would the organization look like?
What would be different?
I would have more people on staff. I'm a big fan of paying artists what they're worth, paying talented people, what they're worth. So I would love to hire more talented people to work at the organization all the time. I would certainly love to be full time. That would be amazing. Not that I want to stop teaching anytime soon, but it would be nice to just like be able to relax a little bit and just focus on girls rock without having to hustle in other parts of my life so much. But the big one, I think, would be one of the things that makes our programs a little bit, I don't want to say frustrating, but sometimes it can be a struggle. And it was especially this summer because we had 4 different camps and in 3 different locations. And so we had to hustle, 9 drum sets and 15 guitar, guitar amps and all of the equipment and PA equipment and speakers and administrative equipment and like a huge truckload of stuff in the middle of summer to multiple locations. And then we have to set everything up and then we have to tear it all down and it's exhausting. So my dream, and the board knows this, if they're listening, they know this, is I would love to have a place where we can just be. And people, it's a nice central location, where it's easy for people to get through via public transportation, where we can be and people can come to us. We would still have our big concerts at local music venues because I think that's really important that we support the local music scene and the local music venues. But in terms of the camps, just a really big space where we can have a giant community space where we could potentially do after school programming because that's something people have been asking us about for years. Do you have anything during the school year? Where we like during the school year where when we don't have camps happening, we can provide instrument instruction, like I teach vocal lessons and I know a lot of our friends and, family out there in the G.I.R.L.S community teach as well. And maybe they can come and teach there. And then we can do workshops throughout you know what I mean? So, And then a place where we can have our dress rehearsals and our adult camps and maybe other people can use it too.
I can see where it'd be fabulous if you had a facility where there's piano, there's guitar, there's drums on a regular basis for participants.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the same time, we could have we have a good friend of ours, DJ Lady Shar, is a great DJ console. We have DJ equipment and we are hardly ever able to use it because we don't have a way to teach that right now. And so that would give us a way to give her a place to teach too. So that's a component that I've been really wanting to integrate into our camps is the DJ component.
Okay, so we got to get that for you.
Yeah.
And back to reality. If we come back now and we're looking at greatest need, what would you say going forward is the greatest need that you see in sustaining?
With using my practical brain?
Yes, not the creative side.
That's hard for me to tap into sometimes. Honestly, we need, what's the right word? Well, I guess I'll just explain it. We could use administrative support. So we just need maybe enough money to be able to pay another person a part-time salary so that I have someone who can help me and then build from there.
Yeah, with the less than fun stuff.
Yeah. The stuff that I'm maybe, I don't want to say I'm not good at it, but I just, paying the bills and communicating with the property managers who, where we rent our space and those types of things. So answering, emails and phone calls and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we definitely need a little more funding so that we can make that happen. I think that's a natural progression for us. That's a reasonable next step, I think. Yeah. And it'd be tremendously helpful. I could do a lot with that.
Yeah. And to the point of what you're saying there, that's not a big ask.
No.
It's a little that will accomplish a lot.
Yeah. Well, and then the other part of that too is we would need a place to put that person. We would need like a nice reception desk, like a desk for that person. So yeah, a person and then a place for that person to be.
What is the best way if somebody's interested in learning more about the organization? Where do you send them? Where do you want them to go? Where do we tell them to go look?
I would say the website. Yeah, girlsrocksacramento.com or girlsrocksacramento.org is probably the best place.
Oh, you have it at both ends, com and org.
Com and org. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know, we signed up for the website. We did com first and then org, and I was like, but we're a nonprofit. Oh,
right.
Yeah, both of those will send you to the same place.
And again, girlsrocksacramento.com or .org.
Yes.
Okay. And we were talking a little bit before we got started about the opportunity to hear something that has been produced at any of the camps.
Yeah.
And you said they actually have Spotify platforms being played.
Right.
And it is Girls Rock
Sacramento.
Sacramento on Spotify.
On Spotify, yeah. So we were very lucky, not this past summer, but the summer before. So in 2023, a good friend of ours, Ashley Ray, runs a local recording studio called Rosa Mortem Recording Studio. She's amazing, phenomenal, talented, and she offered to record the songs that each of our 5 teen camps wrote at camp that summer, which was a phenomenal learning experience for them. And she came in and did a little recording workshop for all the campers and told them what to expect and how to prepare. And it really made them kind of like they spent extra time crafting their songs, I feel like that week. And so as a result of that, they each band that summer got to record their song. She donated the studio time. She did it all for free. It was amazing. And then one of our board members was able to set up the Spotify account for us and upload all the songs. And so, yeah, all 5 of their songs are on Spotify. So I'd love to be able to do that again, maybe in the next year or two.
How neat and how appropriate for these students, because everything's so social today that they can just go, hey, you can hear me? No, it's right here. I'll just send you the link to Spotify.
Yep.
It's right there.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
So again, it's girlsrocksacramento.com or .org to go and learn about the programs and what the opportunities are when the programs are coming up.
Yeah, I would say also, sorry to interrupt, I would say we have a presence on Instagram also, we're and Facebook, but probably more so Instagram. Whenever we have something that's happening, like right away, we're definitely follow us on Instagram. Or if you are on our website and you can sign up for our email list, we email updates about things all the time.
Sure. I'll put those on those handles in the show notes as well. So anybody that's listening can go right there and sign up or grab the links.
Okay.
Is there anything that you would like to leave the audience with before we close? Anything about the program that is significant other than what we've already spoken about?
I think it's interesting that you asked me that question kind of coming out of this week and the things that have happened this week. And in a weird way, because I was talking before about how our organization started and kind of why it started. And I feel in a weird way, I kind of feel like we're back at the beginning again, just because the political climate in our country is so unstable right now, especially as people respond and react to people who look like me. And so sometimes I get asked, like, what about the boys? Because I think that was my mom, honestly, asked me that, like, as soon as she found out what I was doing when I was starting this organization. She's like, what about the boys? And I'm like, okay, well, do boys and men typically have a problem, like, finding success in the music industry? Like, and so I would just say to people, just kind of, remember that, Girls Rock Sacramento is about music, but it's also about, it's kind of a global movement, to try to make things fair and equitable for people in this industry. And so it's not just about like, oh, how cute that girl, she's wearing a pink tutu and she's playing a little pink guitar. Like it's about something a lot bigger than that. And if you talk to any of our campers who've been with us from the very beginning, and a lot of them are going to college now and pursuing careers in the arts and in activism, they'll tell you that it's about more than that. Like it's a little bit revolutionary.
It's an empowerment.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what I would say.
And the acronym.
Gender inclusivity.
Inclusivity, radical love and support.
Yes.
Girls.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you.
And Larisa, what a Herculean task you took on when you started this in 2016, probably with no idea what it was going to look like and how much it was going to take to do.
True.
But it's such a unique and novel way to address some of the very serious social issues our teens face. And as they grow into their own unique individuality, they need that support in so many cases.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you and the supporters for the organization, for what you bring to the community in an alternative way for people with alternative situations that maybe aren't necessarily always as well accepted. And I think you just summed it up in the, that closing statement. So we appreciate what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Nonprofit Podcast Network. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If what you heard moved you, please reach out to that organization and do what you can to help. If you like and appreciate what we're doing to support local nonprofits, please give us a positive review, subscribe, and share. If you're a nonprofit with an interest in participating in an episode, you can reach me at jeff@hearmenowstudio.com. If you have a need for the services or products our sponsors offer, please reach out to them. CapTrust, fiduciary advice for endowments and foundations. Runyon Saltzman Incorporated, RSE, marketing, advertising, and public relations, creating integrated communications committed to improving lives. And Western Health Advantage, a full-service healthcare plan for individuals, employer groups, and families. The Nonprofit Podcast Network is a production of, is recorded at, and edited by Hear Me Now Studio.